I remember the sound before anything else. Not my name, not my home, not even the smell of ash that still clings to everything I touch. Just the sound. A crack. Sharp. Sudden. Final. Like the world itself had split open and I had fallen through. Most kobolds don't remember being born. We're not meant to. Life starts when you can run, when you can hide, when you can keep up with the rest of the clutch. Before that, it's just warmth and instinct and darkness. But I remember. I remember the egg. I remember the moment it stopped being safe. It was warm in the nest, safe in the way things are safe when you don't yet understand how easily they can be broken. The air smelled like smoke and minerals, like it always did in the tunnels, and there was a steady glow from the vents that lined the cavern walls. Nothing unusual, nothing wrong. Until it was. Something changed. I didn't know the word for it then. I didn't know magic, or surge, or catastrophe. I only knew that the air started to hum, low at first, like something breathing beneath the stone. Then louder, then wrong. The walls lit up, not with fire, but with symbols. Lines and shapes that burned without heat, crawling across the rock like they had always been there, just waiting to be seen. Waiting for me. I shouldn't have been able to see them. No one else ever had. I know that now. The hum turned into a scream. The nest shook. Dust fell from above. Something deep in the tunnels collapsed with a sound that I felt more than heard. And then, the crack. The egg broke. Not slowly, not gently. It shattered. Light exploded around me. Not fire, something brighter, sharper. Purple and gold and white all at once, tearing through the dark like claws. And in that moment, I saw it. Everything. Threads. Lines of light stretching in every direction. Through the stone, through the air, through me. Connecting everything. Moving, shifting, alive. The world wasn't solid anymore. It was woven, layered, held together by something vast and fragile and impossibly complex. And I could see it. I could understand it. Just for a heartbeat. Then it broke. The threads snapped, twisted, surged out of control. The light became too much, too fast, too loud, and the world followed it into ruin. Stone cracked, the ceiling gave way. Fire burst through the walls as if the mountain itself had been wounded. I tried to move, tried to crawl, to hide, to do anything except stay where I was, but the ground vanished beneath me. Something pulled. Not hands, not claws. Something deeper. The threads. They wrapped around me, tightened, and dragged me screaming into the light. I don't remember the fall. I remember the heat. When I woke up, the world was on fire. Not burning, made of fire. The sky was red. No, not red. Alive, moving, like molten metal poured across the horizon. The ground beneath me was black stone, cracked and glowing from within. Rivers of lava carved through the land like veins, pulsing with heat. Everything roared. Everything wanted to consume me. I tried to breathe and nearly choked. The air burned. Every breath felt like swallowing embers. My skin stung. My eyes watered. My body, small and weak and not meant for this place, shook as if it already knew what I didn't want to admit. I was going to die. I don't know how long I lay there. Long enough to realize no one was coming. Long enough to understand that whatever had taken me wasn't bringing me back. I pushed myself up anyway, because dying on the ground felt worse. The first thing I saw, really saw, was the weave. It was still there, still everywhere. But it wasn't the same.
On my world, it had been structured, balanced, flowing like something that knew what it was doing. Here, it was chaos. Threads tangled and tore through each other, glowing too bright, snapping and reforming in ways that made my head hurt if I looked too long. Magic didn't flow here, it fought. And somehow, impossibly, it still held everything together. How is this even real? My voice came out dry, cracked, too small for a place like this. The world didn't answer. It just burned. Something moved in the distance. Big, slow, hungry. I learned very quickly that standing still was a bad idea. The first few days, if they were days, were a blur of heat and panic and mistakes. I touched things I shouldn't have touched, ate things I shouldn't have eaten, trusted the ground not to break beneath me. It did, often, but I didn't die. Not because I was strong, not because I was lucky, because I paid attention. I watched the weave, the way the threads bent around heat, the way they snapped before something collapsed, the way they pulsed when something alive moved nearby. It didn't make sense, not all of it, but enough did, enough to keep me moving, enough to keep me alive, barely. Eventually, I found metal, scraps, broken pieces, half-melted shapes that had once been something useful. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew they mattered. Everything in this place was fire, except metal. Metal endured.
So I held on to it. That's when they found me. I heard them before I saw them. Heavy steps, rhythmic, controlled. Not like the wild, chaotic movement of everything else in this place. I turned and saw fire walking. They were shaped like people, but not like any I had ever seen. Their bodies glowed from within, cracks of molten light running through dark, stone-like skin. Their eyes burned steady and focused. Weapons, tools, purpose. They looked at me, at the scrap in my hands, at the fact that I was still breathing. One of them stepped forward, big, broad, heat rolling off him like a forge. That thing alive? I didn't understand all the words, but I understood the tone. I did the only thing that made sense. I held out the metal, not as a weapon, not as a threat, an offering, a trade. There was a long silence, the kind that decides things. Then, a grunt, a nod. We'll see. That's how I survived. Not by being the strongest, not by being the fastest, but by learning, by trading, by earning every scrap of knowledge, every tool, every moment I wasn't thrown back into the fire. They taught me how to shape metal, how to listen to heat, how to see flaws before they broke. I didn't tell them about the weave, not at first. Some things are better kept quiet until you understand them yourself. But I used it, every strike, every cut, every piece I made. I watched the threads, and I learned. Fire destroys, but it also reveals, and I was paying attention. I didn't know it then, didn't know what that moment, the crack, the light, the fall had made me, but I would, because the fire wasn't done with me, and neither was the world I left behind. And when it finally came for me again, I wouldn't break. I would be ready.